Well, hello and welcome to PM Express, your favorite time of the day. You should be sat back, relaxed, and waiting for the topic today. And today we are looking at the double track system, one of the biggest revolutions to hit our schooling system after the JSS, SS system. The next one is the double track system. Once upon a time, there was a shift system within the primary schools and middle schools. And we abolished it because we thought, look, kids were being truant and giving excuses as to which time or which shift it is that they went to school. So now we are looking at a double track, which is not a shift. Some say it is a shift, but not all schools. 400 selected schools are going to practice it because the schools that have got lots of students selecting it would have a double track so that many students who choose those particular schools can go, and also it will reduce overpopulation in school, increasing the quality of teaching. So that's come. So today we're going to have a discussion on it. I have one new school teacher and one old school teacher to see if we can get their perspectives of what they think. Are they going to welcome it? Are they going to touch it with a barge pole? Are they going to touch it with caution? Which is which? Stay tuned. My name is Nana Ansakwa IV, Chief of the Little Republic of Akwemu, Edumasa. When I come back, we are looking at the double track system. Thank you very much for staying with me. In studio is Stephen Desu, Prime Servant of Innovative Teachers. Stephen, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Nana.
And then joining us later is Alfred Amwate, who's a retired municipal director of education, and he lives and breathes education just like my brother in studio. Stephen, Innovative Teachers, were you part of the consultation with regards to double track system?
No, we were not invited and we were not consulted. And according to a panel discussion that we had at Adom FM, it came to light that most of the labor unions in GES were not invited. In fact, all of them, NAGRAS, Innovative Teachers, CCT, were not invited to any meeting to discuss double track. No invitation at all, no consultation at all. Because you see, Dana, this policy is an emergency response to population explosion. That's what it is. So the government was, did not have the time to consult anymore before coming out because they thought at the time that this is the right thing to do. So there's no need for consultation because the kind of discussion that has gone on over the number of days since this double track gained currency within our media, sphere, it has become apparent that government has made it mind to pursue this agenda in a certain way, and regardless of what everybody says, government doesn't care.
Well, but there's two things. Either you build 622 6-unit classroom schools, or you double track, or get some of the kids out of school.
Nana, our situation here can be likened to a man who got married, let's say a month ago, the wife got pregnant, let's say today. Obviously, 9 months later, the wife will give birth. Then this husband waits till the day the woman is taken to hospital to deliver. That's the day the man is going to look for money to go and sort out the issues at the hospital. That's the case that we have in Ghana. Did we plan towards the population explosion so that some of the infrastructure that we are talking about here could be provided to cater for some of these students, for them to get access to education? We didn't. We were just there and we were piling up the numbers, overcrowding our schools. But now we cannot overcrowd anymore. It has been filled to the brim, and so we have to create another glass and put the next double track. And that, for me, is a way of expanding the factory for passing exams. That's what we are doing in Ghana. Our schools have become factories for passing exams. The substance of education doesn't really matter. What matters is how many of them are in school and how many of them are passing. So the substance doesn't matter. So the question about double track, for us as innovative teachers, we are indifferent about it because it does not talk about the relevance of what teachers are doing in our schools.
Well, see, it's going to reduce the numbers and reduce class sizes, reduce school sizes, so supervision can go up and therefore quality.
Okay, you use the last word, quality. Whose quality? If I have a typewriter here and I modify the typewriter to become quality, who needs a typewriter? There's an Apple. Who needs a modified quality typewriter? For what? For me, I've been advocating for a tailor-made relevant education for Ghana, not quality. Because you can take an old quality something which is irrelevant today. It may be relevant today, but in the next 50 years, it will be irrelevant. So nations around the world are fashioning out educational systems or education system that is tailor-made to solve specific problems at a particular time. Are we doing the same? We are not. So if you talk about reducing class sizes, of course, it will make teachers work easier. If you talk about reducing school numbers, of course, it will make teachers work easier. But if you talk about expanding the number of hours we spend at school, of course, it will make teachers, finish the syllabus. But you see, it's not the number of hours you spend in school that's the issue. It is the quality of things going on there, how relevant it is, okay, to the human development, as in the human capital development of the country. That's what is most important.
But I mean, does this not give you that room, that opportunity to now get the flexibility? Because assuming once upon a time you have a class size of 80 and therefore you give homework and there's 80 scripts to look at.
You can't work.
But now if your class size is down to maybe 60 or 40, you have that leverage to bring in all the necessary quality that you need.
Yeah, I'm saying that you have reduced the size, yes, you understand. It will make the teachers work easier, okay, and finish the syllabus in time, okay, so that students can go and write exams. My point is, exams for what? What is there in our schools that we are pursuing? Is it about getting the manpower that Ghana needs to leapfrog on its development, or just a matter of just pass through and go?
So that would be up to the teachers now to say that, listen, instead of me, becoming, this examination factory business, now I'm going to put the substance into the system. Because now you have smaller sizes to do that. You have the flexibility to do that.
The labor law does not state that teachers should provide facilities in our schools for students to learn. No. It is the responsibility of the employer, that's government, to provide the resources needed, okay, for education to take place in our schools. Most of our schools are not well resourced for the kind of thing that we want them to do. So having increased the duration in a day, saying that every weekend they will go to school, and again saying that you have reduced the class sizes and school sizes, yes, you understand. But when they go to school, what are they doing in our schools? That's the question that we need to ask ourselves. So the teachers will do their part. The teachers will do their part, and they will pass exams. Then what?
No, but can't you as a teacher, impart, apart from the syllabus that the kids have to do, your experiences, your exposure, the books you have read, and things that broaden the child's knowledge? I mean, that's you, the teacher's job. That's no more government's business.
Of course, but you see, when you go to most of our schools, okay, we have most of our schools that lacks, they lack computers, for example. So as we are teaching in the school, you don't have access to computers for every student to, use to demonstrate the kind of lesson that you are delivering to them. How can the teacher provide the facilities, the science laboratory equipment for students to learn how to conduct experiment in the laboratory? You understand my point? So you see, the teachers will do their best, but it gets to a point that your best cannot push anymore.
Look, joining me on the phone now is Alfred Amwate, who is an educationist, a former municipal director of Ghana Education Service. Mr. Amwate, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Great. Mr. Amwate, today it's been announced, it's formal. We're going to have a two-track system of schooling. Not all the schools are going to do it, but those who are more popular would be, practicing these two-track. Now, you are from the old stock of teaching. What's your opinion on it?
Well, this is probably to solve a problem. So I would rather call it an ad hoc measure, so that they can, the country can absorb as many candidates from the JHS as possible. But it cannot be a permanent thing. So the next thing that we need to do, we have tried it before at the basic level, more or less like the shift system that was at the basic level. And it came with certain problems. Therefore, it has to be abrogated. Well, if we are faced with another problem of admission into second cycle, and we think this, how do we call it, shift, double stream or whatever it is, will solve the problem. It should be a temporary thing, so that a more permanent solution can be found to solve that problem of admission.
More permanent will be, building more infrastructure.
Yes, building more infrastructure. Yes, that is what happened at the basic level. More infrastructure was built, especially in Accra. There was a time, Accra was running cheap. At a point in time, the municipality or the Metropolitan Assembly or the government felt that there must be the building of additional infrastructure to absorb the excess pupils. So that is what must be done at the second cycle level. And probably we must start thinking about the tertiary as well, expanding the facilities. We have not been expanding facilities at the tertiary, and maybe in the second cycle. But the population keeps on increasing. So we need to find a solution to that one. And I have a suggestion to make, but I can't make it here. I wish the Minister of Education would get somebody to contact me so that, because at a certain point in time, when I was director at the Kwahu South, the late Mr. Kojo Banwe visited the place, and I suggested certain things to him. He took note, but not long after, and I heard of his demise. And I believe that those suggestions are still valid. They can help the country to build infrastructure.
Well, you raised a very salient point with regards to population. The population is 2.5, 2.8, about 800,000, 850,000 people, being born on a yearly basis. So whether we like it or not, there are plenty of people who are coming through the schooling system. If the issue is infrastructure, it means every year we're going to be building about 20 schools.
Yes, it is possible. With what I envisage, it is possible to do it. So if the Minister of Education would be interested in my suggestions, at the moment I can't travel very much because when we meet, I've been having problems with my waist. So if you can send somebody to me, I will make the suggestion to him. It is still valid.
Mr. Wate, to what end? Are you saying for the lifespan of Ghana, every year we're going to be building 20 schools every year?
Now let me. How many technical schools do we have in the country?
I'm not sure.
We have about 28 or 38. So if one technical school builds one school a year, is it not possible? Meanwhile, every year they buy materials for practice, which goes to waste. You see, you have made me leak my
your technical. No worry, leak some.
My thing on air. And that is the way. The materials, building materials that we buy for the technical schools, we pay for them to do it not. Now we go forward, supply them with the material, with the technical universities providing this thing. Can't schools, about 38 schools be built every year.
You see, at the moment, listening to the education minister today, as of today, he needs 622 classroom blocks just to fill in the students today. BEC, we go up anything up to 40% every year. Yeah, I think last year and this year they went up about 41,000 students. I mean, how do you cope with such numbers?
That is what I'm telling you. Instead of buying materials to waste as teaching and learning materials, we buy the materials so that they can industry.
If you position yourself well, your line. Samate, I was losing your there.
You see that they can use those materials in building classroom blocks, even if at the basic level. But there was a time we had the voluntary organization where students from various institutions on holidays go to help in putting up buildings. They were given material and they will put up the building. All those things, we have lost them. Volu welcome.
Okay.
You remember?
Ahead of them.
Yes.
Ahead of them.
So why don't we try to go back to those things and then start making use of those things to build our country? We need strategies to build our country.
Yeah.
And just like I'm suggesting, every year there's budget for materials, teaching and learning materials for the technical students who do how do you call it? Walls and they mold blocks, then they build walls to them. The carpentry workers, I mean, they make only joints and whatnot. But the wood that they have been using in those days, a little amount of money can be added. One business.
Okay, I'll get a better line and come back to you. But Stephen,
yes,
those in technical schools, of course, get them out there, volu workers and like infrastructure revolution. My worry is, I mean, then so what? Then till time immemorial, or how does it work? But what he's suggesting is that if we get all these guys on there, maybe we can, so that we stop the double track system.
You mean the students in the school should go and build the schools?
Build schools. They're already learning building.
Yes, but what's the capacity of the student there? Have they been trained, given a requisite capacity to build a kind of classroom that's we need?
This is the experience. That's why they're in school.
Again, you need to provide them with the materials to do so.
That's what he's saying. That they supply them with the materials and then look, go and build your school and then we'll mark you.
You and I know the kind of policies that goes on with procurement. So this suggestion will just be thrown out of the window. It won't work. So the government would like to construct the schools itself, not to give it to technical people to do that. No.
I mean, but he's making a suggestion. I mean,
that's the ideal situation, okay? But the reality on the ground is not what he is saying. Cool. First of all, you have students who are not properly trained as technical guys. You go to most of our schools. Today, as we speak, if oil companies in Ghana need welders, they cannot get welders in Ghana. Welders at the oil rig, they cannot get some of them in Ghana because the welders we have do not have the expertise to do the kind of work that is done on the oil rig. So it's all about capacity. And the way we train our students in our schools to give them the skills needed. Do they have the skills to do? They have the competency? If they do so and the government want to, no problem. They can do that. But if they don't, then you are going to have situations where you build a house and after some time, cracks will begin to develop. Are you aware that when you mix mortar and you allow it to be there, you go and eat wachi and come back. By the time you come back, the whole thing at the spot, don't pour water in it. If you use the construct, very soon you see cracks. How many of them know that?
Well, the teachers will probably teach them that. But how? I mean, the two-semester system. As a teacher, how would it sit with you?
The two-semester system, as in a double track.
No. Every school is now going to do the 2 semesters. Whether you're doing double track or not, we are doing 2 semesters.
For me, I don't have a problem with whether it is 3 terms or 2 semesters. No, I don't. We don't have problem with that. As teachers, we don't have problem with the semester or term. No, we don't. It's just a matter of terminology. We don't. We don't have a problem with that at all. But our concern here has to do with the kind of work we are supposed to do, which is extra. Yes. Teachers are not going to work on weekends too.
No, but you're getting you're being paid for that.
How much is that?
That's 50 CDs or something. There was
if government respect teachers, how do you negotiate with yourself about how much you're going to give to teachers? Which labor union was consulted for this 50 CDs that they claim?
It's not a matter of labor
the
union.
minister was saying 50 CDs per student. Is it per term? Every day? Every week? Every month? Is it yearly? The things we need to know about.
Patriotism, we are all broke. So 50 CDs,
Nana, are you aware government owes teachers arrears? For 6 years, government has not paid.
So we just add this to the arrears that we already owe you.
This one? You see, let's be real here. The number of days students spend in our schools, let me repeat, does not really matter. The number of hours they spend in our classrooms does not really matter. The facilities that will give them the education needed in the 21st century for me is what is necessary. So merely saying that you have increased this, you have increased that, to reduce this or to reduce that, and that will bring quality. And then I'll ask you, whose quality? And who is judging that quality? So if you say education is quality, the economy will expose you. How many Ghanaians are in commanding heights of the economy? Banks, which sector are Ghanaians leading? It comes back to education. So if you don't address the fundamental issue of education, and you think that you are doing parents, a favor by saying that they should not pay school fees, that's the gravest mistake this nation is making. You cannot say you are doing parents favor, poor parents favor, by saying they should not pay. No. It's a grave mistake. You know why?
Why?
It is the responsibility of the state to develop its human capital for development. That's the responsibility of the state. Because you need the manpower to do so. So if you don't have it, how do you develop?
So this is the manpower we are developing. The students given to you now, maybe the parents have missed the opportunity and we don't want to pass it on to the children. So you're now building these children who are going to grow and they will be able to afford their children's school fees. So we are breaking the cycle.
Government, you are breaking the cycle of poverty.
Sort of.
With this, you are rather spreading poverty and misery. That's what you are doing. You see, fact of the matter here is that government resources is being spread thin. And so the kind of relevant education you need to get in our school, you will not get it. And by virtue of that, you also pass through the same issues as in walk through the same problem that the others also came to have. My issue with this double track system is this. If we can put in measures to ensure that we redirect the focus for education. For me, you see, over the years, we've been doing what I call cosmetic approaches. 4 years, 3 years, junior high school, JSS, now junior high school, SHS, now senior high school. Some of these changes. Then we went back for GHS system. Then we moved on.
3 years and 4 years.
3 years, 4 years. These are cosmetic approaches. As a nation, we've not had a discussion on what we are doing in our schools. So every argument is about access. How many people are there? And who is out there on the street? But what we are doing in our schools, we've never had it. Nana, have you had any discussion in that regard in Ghana?
Well, it hasn't
discussing the relevance of what we are teaching in our schools, the content of what we are giving them, and how relevant it is to the course of the nation in terms of development. As you and I speak right now, Ghana has signed the Intercontinental Free Trade Area with Africa. Ghana again has AGWA, Africa Growth and Opportunity Act, to the US government. Again, we've signed with EU, okay, to supply them with agricultural products because it's an agrarian economy. To what extent is the educational system being tailored to take advantage of these three, trading blocks with, millions of people who need the products from here? To what extent are we doing so? We are not.
Let me go to Mr. Moate, who's back on the line. Hello, Mr. Moate.
Yes, sir.
2 track, 3 track, 1 track, or free school? the relevance in the school has not been addressed. What do you say? You've been there.
Yes, I think I will agree with the last speaker on that issue. But when I said that we can do that, somebody just said, brush it aside. You see, which people do infrastructure building in our country? These are the products from our technical institute. After all, even people who have not had any training at all are involved in the infrastructure building. So people who have been exposed to technical training, why can't they do what they are supposed to do under supervision? I said we have technical universities, and they can be the people supervising the work there. It is doable if only we want to do it. Our problem is infrastructure. Our problem is infrastructure, and we need to really pay attention to that.
Once we have finished with the infrastructure, since we are here, what's your position on the free SHS?
The free SHS, I was telling you, I told you that the population is growing, increasing by day. So there's a need to find solutions as to how we can absorb our pupils and students into the first cycle and the second cycle institution, and then the tertiary as well. And this is just one of the measures. But I consider it a temporary measure because this cannot continue forever. Rather, we must think of how we can improve upon our infrastructure, either expanding the facilities in the existing schools or continue to build more schools to absorb the growing numbers of students and pupils.
You're shifting to my pet subject. Are you for population, regulating the population growth? Are you for that, or you are old school?
Fine. Let me ask a question here. Bringing forth children, is it a human right?
I don't even know how to answer that. But
so let's find out about that one. Whether bringing forth children is a human right, so that the human rights people will not come and say we are stopping people from having children.
Oh no, you can have children. Yeah,
most of the children we have in the country, they are born by accident. By accident, people go in to look for pleasure, and then it becomes pregnancy, and then the child is born. See, so there's a need for us to really regulate childbirth. We cannot say that people should not have sex, but you must have the sex responsibly, so that the end result will not be a child which you are not capable of looking after. Do you see that?
I definitely see that. I definitely see that. But you see, so why is it that you were listening to the education minister today, and this never comes up as to the numbers that are being pushed to him? Of course, he's not responsible for family planning and everything. However, he doesn't make any suggestions to MPC that, look, MPC, you need to check, how many kids are being born on a yearly basis, because at a certain point I will break.
Nana, and the first one mistake we made, see, when we are making policy, we must think of the repercussions. We made, medical care for pregnant women free.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
Without putting stop gaps. Meaning that any woman who gets pregnant should have free medical care. It should not be so. You must be pregnant under a certain condition. All right? Either you are married properly. Yes, you must be properly married before you have birth to a child. But it's ad hoc. Anybody who gets pregnant by any means have free medical care. That should not be.
And it doesn't matter how many number of children
you have, two. You see that? So when we are bringing in policy, we must have measures that will control the other ramifications that will come with it.
Let me see.
For instance, this free education we are talking of.
Yeah.
It should be academically inclined. Not the feeding, not the clothing. That should be the responsibility of the parent.
Let me see if Stephen agrees.
We are giving education to the child. We are not feeding the child and clothing the child. Then if, I mean, the way we are doing it, as if it's the responsibility of the government to feed every child in Ghana.
Well, hold on for me, Mr. Mwate. But Stephen, if you do that, there are people who literally don't have a meal. And
I mean, that's why I said
Mr. Mwate,
childbearing a human, what do you call it? Human right.
Human right. Okay, Mr. Mwate, hold on for me. I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Good. You know, if you do that, you are going to eliminate people out of this system where, well, they can't afford the meals, so they might as well just stay home because they can't come to school hungry.
No, in respect of what? Is it boarding school, day school? Which one are you talking about?
Well, everybody now is day school or boarding school. Everybody gets a meal. There's a meal a day for a student.
I've always maintained that boarding schools are luxuries we can't afford anymore. We have to come to that realization very soon. They are luxuries we cannot afford anymore. The government cannot feed your child. You see, this whole business of giving wholesale free to everybody is the cause of this problem. If those who went to private schools, who were paying 1,500 per term, okay, cities per term, can go to Adesada and say, all of a sudden we cannot pay. I mean, how? The government must make sure that all those who went to private schools pay their feeding and other stuff going on in the boarding schools. And those who went to government schools goes to school free. That should be the things that we need to do. If we don't go on that path, and then we begin to spread the small resource we have thin, it cannot reach the poor we are trying to help. And so it becomes a problem. Whilst you cannot have access to the funds to give them, because most of these things donor money. This double track, according to the minister, is waiting for donors to bring money. How can you run an educational system based on other person's discretion as to whether to give you the money or not? You and I know that we are a middle income country. And so the donors will say, but you guys are middle income. Why should they give you the funds? Go and take Euro bonds and be inching closer to the 70% to GDP in terms of debt. So my point is that we need to get to a realization as we speak right now that, listen, we've come to a stage where we have LEAP, right? Is it everybody who get LEAP in Ghana? That's stipend, that's given to poor people. Is it everybody that gets it? I've never received one before.
No.
So it's targeted, right?
Yeah.
So why can't you do the same when it comes to free SHS? We must do targeting. And I hear people say, oh, who is poor and who is rich? Really? We cannot determine who can pay, who cannot pay in this country. So how can we are implementing LEAP then? If it is not wholesale, LEAP is not wholesale, why should this free education thing be wholesale? People are prepared to pay. Take away the first class schools. Take away the grade B schools. Make all the grade C schools free. You understand? And let them pay for the kind of stuff that's going on and take away tuition. That's the only thing that they should not pay. But any other thing they use in the boarding school, I mean, which I mean, UK and other, well-developed countries, they don't do the things that we are doing here. So how can we, as poor nation, we are doing this when we don't have even the means to do so? And again, you talk about population. Double track system is a symptom of an unchecked population. And that is where the problem is coming from. The problem is coming from unchecked population. How we are not checking our population. The man was talking about childbirth being a human rights issue, right? Yes, you can call it a human rights issue.
No, he was trying to imply that it's not human right.
Fine.
Yeah,
but some people argue that way because when this issue came up, I've discussed this issue with a lot of young people. And most of the time, that's what they say, that the decision that I take in my bedroom is none of your business. I say, oh, really? Fine, it's none of my business. But when they grow, they have implications for the state. The state must provide them hospitals, right? Look at congestion in South Kolebu. It's part of the problem. That's where it's coming from. The state must provide them with schools. You cannot. And it's also part of the problem.
Sanitation.
Yes, so sanitation, electricity, is part of the doom. So if we don't check our population, we are going nowhere. And again, Nana, it's either we make every parent get a 10 number, okay? There's plumbers, carpenters, and all those people who are not paying taxes, but their children are in our schools free, and they are not paying taxes. Every parent whose son or daughter is enjoying free must have a tax identification number so that they pay taxes. So that that tax will be used. So that middle class people or upper class people money should not be used to fund the lifestyle of people who claim that what they do in their bedroom, nobody should cap that. Again, we should cap it. Free education should be capped. 3 children free, the rest you are your own.
Let me take a quick break and come back and see how that would work. And maybe ask if the director would even open the phone line so we get a view of what's happening outside. Well, thank you very much for staying. It's getting interesting, and the telephone lines are on the screen. I just want to get a sense of what you out there also think. You know, maybe you're a parent, you're a teacher, you're a student, double track system, overcrowding schools, population, all these things. Or maybe you're in a technical school and you really fancy going to build a school for other people, or you think, no, not for me. I'll still want to hear all that. But let me go to the phone and Mr. Mwate.
Yes, sir.
Is it going to happen in our lifetime, or we just have to talk about it?
You know, this suggestion was given to the Honorable Kojo Bawadu of Blessed Memory in 2004. How many years now? 14 years now. So if we have had, if that thing has started and we started implementing it, 10 years down the line, you would have seen how many schools we would have built. You see, it can be done. The only thing is the willingness to do it. That's all.
Mr. Mwati, hold on. Let me speak to Rashid. Hello, Rashid. Rashid Inwa.
Yeah.
Let me hear what do you have to say about it?
Yes. Good evening. This is Jason Rashid from Wa. Many thanks.
Good.
For that beautiful job you are doing there. Because education is the best legacy we could always give a child. And then thank God today you are bringing this to the hearing of the public. But moving forward, it appears we are just playing ostrich in our educational system in Ghana. You know, there was this that more infrastructure progressively for the benefit of students. Another school of thought was of the view that that's free senior high school now, without necessarily looking at the implications of it. Sometimes we have good initiatives, but wrong implementation. But if you look at, what I want to tell you today is that if you look at, we have to always look at our problems before we put some initiatives. You know, people are now giving blind eyes to this technical and vocational training. So I thought when the NPP was bringing this issue, they could have let it be cover only vocational and technical schools in a pilot base, so that time to come, it will not cover the rest, so that it will compel many, especially those who are the downtrodden of society, to rather go and patronize this, technical and vocational education, so that at the end of the day, we place get them for kids from that fund, and then they'll go and establish themselves, and then work and move on. Because there is credit unemployment here and there. But yes, they brought this double track system where even the rich, the government has to pay for the rich. At the end of the day, who will suffer? And not in the good shape now. If you yourself are special students, how much more do you go through your education discipline, and how much more top of this small kids?
Rashid,
so we shouldn't play ostrich with our education system.
Thank you very much.
If this is not the best, we should withdraw it before time.
Thank you very much, Rashid. But I really want to agree with what you're saying, that we should have at least started with the technical and vocational free, so that those who can afford will push, because we really are lacking skills. Like you said, we don't have welders, you know, and so we are going to force all these children into clerical jobs, and they will come and be calling an answer call. Don't you know anybody here? Don't you know anybody there? Where do I know somebody? You know, I don't know. Maybe let's speak to Delali. Hello, Delali. Delali.
Yes.
Let me hear your take on this issue.
Okay, so I feel that what the man in the studio is saying is right. For example, if you have money to be able to pay for your ward, why do we allow
Oh, I dropped the call. The Lali is insisting on some, means targeting, even though we seem to think that there's no means targeting, in the country. But you think if they can do LEAP, they should be able to do this?
Yes. Nana, I think that...
No, but with LEAP, they come and interview people individually. I mean, but, 500,000 people, who are you going to interview? You just think, if you're coming from Martin Porris, then of course you're coming to pay.
Yes.
If you're coming from Morning Star, you're paying.
Yes, because the track record of your payment is known by everybody. So why should I pay for you?
Let's speak to Justice. Hello, Justice. Justice. Hi, Justice.
Hello.
Yes, Justice. Let me hear you.
Good. I think what Stephen is saying is very relevant. The type of education we provide in this country is completely irrelevant to our developmental needs. Look, Ghana produces cocoa. If it were a country, every student who passes through the educational system should know how to cultivate cocoa. Then from there, it goes into cocoa farming. Ghana mines gold. Every student, educational system should be tailored towards acquiring the knowledge of mining gold. It should have solved the problem of this galamsey we have where everybody is recklessly mining gold everywhere. So what the man is saying is completely true. And I think the theme of politicians, it has to get everybody crowded in the classroom. Whether the person is competent enough to cope with academic work, they don't care. Now, I teach in one of the secondary schools in Western Region. Now, all the students who came first year, some of them could not even write their names.
Wow.
Some of them, every term we display the results on the notice board. And you see, half of the students fail. They cannot do anything. Some of the children are even pressing to go home and learn trade, but the parents are not allowing them because it is free. They come, so what happens is that it's even encouraging truancy. Students will come around, they will not come to class because they cannot cope with academic work. Put these people to the technical institutions where they can learn trade. So we produce engineers from that place. We produce contractors from that place. So they are not good. They cannot speak good English grammar. They can construct. Then we stop importing people to come and construct our roads, come and mine our gold, so that we can develop. But as it stands now, Anna, everything we do is an exercise in futility.
Justice, thank you so much. That's such very insightful. Mr. Mate.
Yes, sir.
Let me give you 30 seconds to round up. 30 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What we are doing right now, I think it's an ad hoc work to solve a problem temporarily. But we need to look ahead and try to get some other solutions to the problem. And that is provision of infrastructure, appropriate infrastructure, from the basic through the second cycle to the tertiary. The tertiary needs expansion, or we need to be building more.
So, thank you.
The numbers that are coming
are huge. Thank you very much, Mr. Mwate. This tertiary, after I've done this thing after SS, then what? I've done it a couple of times, but I think we need to do it again. That after free SHS, then what? Let me go to Kumasi, and John is waiting there. Hello, John.
Yeah, hello.
Hi, John. Let me hear you.
Yeah, hello.
John, let me hear you.
Yeah, hello. Good evening.
Good evening, John. John, turn off your radio and the TV and listen to me.
I don't know if you're speaking out of Brittany. Hello?
Good. John, you're listening to your TV. You have to listen to the telephone. Okay. We lost John there, but Justice was making a very relevant point.
Yeah, that's the whole idea. This galamsey thing. You see, it comes back to the colonial structure education system they brought. So as they give you the memorization, they take your gold away, they take your cocoa away, they take your timber away, they take your manganese, your bauxite, and all that away. So they are very happy with the status quo. And now China is also coming to add themselves to the new colonial agenda. Even though they never colonized us anyway, they have seen a certain loophole that they can exploit. So if Africa or Ghana, for that matter, does not put its act together, all nations that are putting their act together will then begin to look out there for resources. And again, we have nothing to do with our resources. So why not? They come for them quickly. On this double track, today, the minister, backtracked a little on the private schools. Previously, the deputy minister said no private schools qualified to be used as, free SHS. Now the minister is saying that some of them will be selected. Now that's a step forward. The next step forward we want to see is that it should be targeted. They must listen. They must listen. Otherwise, we are going to have a problem. We'll end up in a ditch.
Okay, let me go to Brekum, and Gabriel is there. Hello, Gabriel in Brekum.
Yeah, Nana.
Let me hear you.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
I think I will buy into the idea of the man in the studio who said there should be a targeted approach.
Yeah.
In fact, concerning targeting the government schools, that will even help the government itself. Because now I could realize that even the government schools are going down in terms of population, and the private schools are taking their people. So even if it is targeted to only the government schools, it will even help some of the parents who decided to send their wards to private schools. Will bring them back because they know they will not be able to afford in the secondary school level. So they will bring them back so that when they get there, they will also be able to benefit.
Thank you very much. Let me go to Kintampo, and Combat is there. Hello, Combat.
Yeah. Nana, good evening.
Good evening, my brother.
Yeah, I am a teacher, but I have a lot of concerns.
Well, you only have 30 seconds, so take the most priority one.
Thank you so much. Concerning this free education issue, it is very good, but it would have been better if we consider maybe students who qualify to go to the SHS. Issue being that if every student is to go, some go there, they will not be able to read. Some get to the SHS, they will come out, so they cannot do anything out there. And that is one issue. So if we are able to streamline, then we make sure students get serious at the JHS, then they pass. At least they get some grades before they enter. It will be able to help a lot.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's all. Unfortunately, that's all time will allow us. But before I come to studio, this is announcing to one and all family. Everybody is cordially invited. Announcing the passing to the ancestors of Togbeka Drake Chigbe III. Togbeka Drake Chigbe III, who was the paramount chief of Akwefe. And Togbe Drake Chigbe IV now is on the stool with him and all the other paramount chiefs of Akwefe. That the whole week there is a funeral for the passing of the great one. And so Thursday 9th to Saturday 11th of August is the funeral, and all sympathizers are gladly invited to come and join them. Thursday 9th to Saturday 11th, and then memorial service is Sunday the 12th of August at Akwefe, and I shall try and make myself present there. But Stephen, thank you very much. That's all time will allow us. That's all time will allow us. I know it's education. We'll never have enough time for education, but we'll come back and find out that after SHS, free SHS, then what? Stay tuned.